In the previous session, we learned what React is and discussed the differences between native and hybrid applications. In this video, we learn about React environment, the software requirements, installing Node.js, Node Package Manager, installing Visual Studio Code, creating the first React application, understanding React folder structure, and finally running the React application. Before we start developing React applications, we need to prepare our computer with the necessary software and tools. This process is called as React environment setup. So, just like a chef needs ingredients and utensils before cooking, a React developer also requires certain tools before writing code. In this session, we will learn how to install these tools, create a first React project, understand the project structure, and successfully run a React application. Unlike simple HTML pages, React applications require a development environment. This environment includes software that help us write, compile, manage, and execute React code. The environment setup involves installing Node.js, which provides the JavaScript runtime, npm for managing packages, Visual Studio Code for writing code, and a web browser to view the application. Once these tools are installed, we can start building modern web applications using React. Now let us understand the purpose of each software component. Node.js provides the runtime environment that allows JavaScript to execute outside the browser. npm or Node Package Manager is used to install and manage React libraries and other dependencies. Visual Studio Code is a lightweight and powerful editor used to write and organize React code. We also need a web browser such as Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge to run and test our application. Finally, the React library itself provides the tools needed to build user interfaces. The first step in setting up the React environment is installing Node.js. Node.js is a JavaScript runtime that allows JavaScript code to execute outside the browser. React development relies on Node.js because many development tools and build processes are based on it. Visit the official Node.js website, download the long-term support system or the long-term support version and install it using the default settings. The LTS version is recommended because it is stable, reliable, and widely used in production environments. When Node.js is installed, npm is installed automatically. npm, as I have mentioned, stands for Node Package Manager. Think of npm as an online library containing millions of reusable software packages. So instead of writing every functionality from scratch, developers simply install the required packages using npm commands. For example, if we need the React library, we can install it using the command npm install space react. npm also helps update packages, remove unnecessary packages, and manage project dependencies. So, after installation, it is important to verify that node.js and npm have been installed successfully. Open the command prompt or terminal. Type node space hyphen v and press enter. The system should display the installed version of node.js. Next, type npm space hyphen v. This command displays the installed version of npm. If both commands return version numbers, it confirms that the installation was successful. Once node.js has been successfully installed, the next step is to install Visual Studio Code, commonly known as VS Code. So it is a free, lightweight, and powerful source code editor developed by Microsoft. It is widely used by professional developers and beginners because of its simple interface and rich set of features. One of the key advantages of VS Code is its syntax highlighting feature. It displays different parts of the code in different colors, making it easier to read, understand, and identify errors quickly. Another useful feature is intelligent code completion, also called IntelliSense. As you type your code, VS Code automatically suggests functions, variables, and methods, helping you write code faster and reducing typing mistakes. VS Code also includes built in debugging tools. These tools allow developers to identify, test, and fix errors without switching to another application, making the development process more efficient. Another important feature is the extensions marketplace. We can install extensions such as the React extension pack for automatic code formatting. These extensions enhance productivity and help us follow coding practices. VS Code also provides an integrated terminal. This means we can execute commands like creating a React project, installing packages, and running the development server directly inside the editor without opening a separate command prompt. Overall, Visual Studio Code provides a complete development environment with features such as syntax highlighting, intelligent code completion, debugging support, extensions, and an integrated terminal. These capabilities make React application development faster, easier, and more efficient for both beginners and experienced developers. We have successfully installed all the required software, including Node.js, and Visual Studio Code. We are ready to create our first React application. To begin, open Visual Studio Code and launch the integrated terminal. You can open the terminal by selecting Terminal from the menu and then clicking New Terminal. The integrated terminal allows us to execute commands directly within VS Code without switching to another application. In the terminal, type the following command: npx create hyphen react hyphen app space my app. Let's understand what this command does. The first part, npx, is a package execution tool that comes automatically with Node.js. Unlike npm, which installs packages permanently on your computer, npx allows us to run package temporarily without installing it globally. This helps keep the system clean and ensures that we always use the latest version of the package. The next part, create hyphen react hyphen app, is an official React tool used to create a new React project. Instead of manually creating folders, configuration files, and installing dependencies, this tool performs all those tasks automatically. It provides a ready-to-use project structure, allowing developers to focus on writing code rather than setting up the environment. Finally, my app is the name of the project folder that will be created. You can replace my app with any other meaningful project name depending on the application you want to build. After pressing the enter key, the system starts creating the React application. During this process, it downloads the React libraries, installs all the required packages and dependencies, creates the project folder with the necessary files and directories, and configures everything needed for development. Since several packages are downloaded from the internet, this process may take a few minutes depending on your internet connection speed and your computer's performance. Once the installation is completed successfully, the React project is ready. We can then navigate to the project folder and start the development server to begin building our first React application. This automated setup saves a significant amount of time and allows developers to start coding immediately without worrying about complex configurations. Once the project is created, React automatically generates several folders and files. The node modules folder contain all installed packages and libraries. The public folder stores static resources such as images and the main HTML file. The src folder is the most important folder because it contains the application source code. The package.json file contains information about the project, including installed dependencies and scripts. During development, most of our work will be performed inside the SRC folder. The next step is to run the application and view it in a web browser. First, we need to navigate into the project folder. In the terminal, type the command cd space my app. Here, cd stands for change directory. This command moves us from the current location into the My App folder where all the React projects are stored. If you give your project a different name while creating it, replace My App with your project name. Once we are inside the project directory, the next step is to start the React development server. To do this, type the following command and press enter. The npm start command tells node package manager or npm to execute the start script defined in the project's coordination file known as package.json. During the startup process, React checks the source code, bundles all the required files, and compiles the application. If there are no errors, the terminal displays a message indicating that the project has been compiled successfully. After a few seconds, your default web browser will automatically open and navigate to the address mentioned. Let us understand what this address means. The term local host refers to your own computer. It tells the browser to access a web server that is running locally on your machine instead of on the internet. The number 3000 is called the port number. When the page loads successfully, you will see the default React welcome screen. This screen usually displays the React logo along with a message encouraging you to edit the source code and save the file to see the changes. One of the most useful feature of the React development server is hot reloading. Whenever you make changes to your code and save the file, the browser automatically refreshes and displays the updated output. This allows developers to see the results of their changes immediately, making development more efficient and more interactive. At this stage, the React environment is fully set up and you are ready to begin creating dynamic and interactive web applications using React. Let us summarize today's session. We learned what React environmental setup means and why is it necessary before developing React applications. We discussed the roles of Node.jsm, npm, Visual Studio Code, and the web browser. We also learned how to create our first React application using the create React app command. In the next topic, we will explore React internals where we will understand how React works behind the scenes, including concepts such as virtual DOM, real DOM, and React Fiber, along with reconciliation.